So my name is Nicolas Duchene. I'm CEO of Normec Verifavia. I've been in Smart Freight Weeks 2 years ago for the first time, and I've seen the great expansion of the conference. It has grown really a lot. It's really nice to see so many people into sustainability, decarbonization, transport in the same place at the same time.
Nice, nice. Yes, it's a great place to share our common goals in this decarbonization journey. How's it going so far for you? Have you enjoyed some session in particular that you like the most?
Yeah, so all sessions have been very good. The plenary, of course, are always very insightful. What is very interesting is to hear about the progress on the various roadmaps from the various industry players, and we get to hear from perspective of different actors of the logistic chains, from the asset owners, the logistic service providers, the freight forwarders, and for me, it has been very interesting to see the evolution in the last 3 or 4 years that we are into this field, and it has really changed massively, and now people actually know about book and claim, market-based measures. My activity is mostly verification, assurance audits, and people also know about it a bit more now, so it's really nice to see such evolution.
Nice. Also, I imagine you participated 2 years ago, right, as Marfa Week. So seeing this big family growing, and also more and more people, this knowledge that is growing on people on the importance of decarbonizing your logistics is growing. How do you see this progress on this?
So there were mostly ideas being shared some years ago, and now there have been a lot of actions that have been taken. So still a lot has to be done, but things are progressing in the right direction. And what is particularly interesting is that we saw the evolution. And when we were doing assurance audit for maritime inset 2 years ago, there were really very few companies that understood and knew what we were doing. And now most of the big actors, they also know about it. They have plans to implement it every time in a different way with their own specificities, but with the main objective of making it more robust, more transparent, and more meaningful in terms of achieving, the objectives of the carbon roadmaps and so on. So seeing the evolution from small pioneers working together in a small room to now so much more people into it, it's been really nice. And
I can
it's
imagine.
nice to contribute to the journey as well
It's clear.
in the extent to which we can.
Yes, it's great to see the real impact of all our work and all our collaborations.
Exactly.
What is the impact of one free week, and what have you enjoyed so far? What more or less?
Yeah, so we are doing assurance audits, and to do an audit we need a framework, and Smart Freight Center has been really doing a lot of work in terms of creating structure, creating standards which then can be used by the industry and which can be used by people like me to double check that people follow the rules that they have decided to use. So standardization effort in terms of calculations, but also in terms of agreeing on terminology. For example, what is additionality? We have been lucky to participate to various working groups of Smart Freight Center, and the structure, the standardization that they have implemented is really a key aspect of the growth, because if you don't have good standards, then you can discuss about things which you think are the same, but they are not the same. And when you have a standard, then you know that you are talking about the same things. Things become much more comparable. You can have proper benchmark. It's forcing everybody to reach same level of playing field, let's say, which is very good for all of us and for the world also at the end of the day.
Yeah, you raise an important point. Like, speaking the same language in in this context, I think is essential, and it's great that there is actually a possibility to concrete doing that. What's your perspective of the market for verification and validation of GHG emission in the logistics sector?
So I've been in GHG emissions for many years. 15 years we started in the verification of carbon emission for air transport. And the reason for our activity is the financial value of the allowances or the credits or the inset or the offset or whatever you call it. So we have seen with the regulatory programs that the financial value is important. And so we act as corporate accountant, but for carbons. And because of the financial value of the insets that will have in the future years, the need for verification is going to be increasing because people will spend a lot of money to mitigate their emissions, to reach their carbon neutrality targets, to reach their decarbonization roadmap, and they will want to have confidence that they have purchased the right things and that they really get the full value for what they purchased. And independent verification or validation is a great way to reach that level of confidence because you have independent parties that have no ownership or no commercial incentives to promote this inset or that offset or whatever. We are impartial, we are independent, and we just give our honest opinion as a professional of the field. And we have our processes, our procedures to ensure that various verifiers also verify the same things, because otherwise you would lose this level playing field. And so, because of the increasing financial values, much more actors will generate insets or certificates, and they will need to be verified. Because if you don't have this verification aspect, the value is really much lower, especially with the lack of harmonized framework. And uh, as I've said, Smart Freight Center has been doing a lot of work to promote this kind of framework, but we are still far away from having a centralized regulatory registry, for example, of framework. And so the only way for people to have a claim that they can easily defend is to have it verified, because then it's transparent. They say what they did, and somebody has checked that they actually also did what they say they would do.
Yeah, that's clear. And talking about this verification, how do you ensure? Because I've heard many like there are many cases in where we heard about verification and validation, but that there are so many that sometimes they lack on efficiency because of the variety of verification and certification and claims that are going around. So how do you ensure that in this case the verification and validation is actually guaranteed?
Customer is at the center of everything that we do at Normec Verifavia. And the first stage of our projects of validation, they are always in-depth audit to really understand the processes, the tools, the responsibilities associated to the inset mechanism or EUAC mechanisms implemented by the client. And we also use pilot projects, so real interventions, which can vary in scale, but to understand the process from the beginning to the end. When doing that, it gives us good insights on how the process is working and where are the weak points of the process. And so in the second phase of our work, when we scale up the verification, we want it to be efficient, to be cost effective, but to retain high level of assurance. And we do that by identifying the weak points of the process so that we can then focus the verification efforts on the weak points. And the other aspect of the process, which are more robust because they are more internal control or it's automated, then we can facilitate the verification on these aspects. So understanding our client, how they work, their projects, allows us to customize our verification approach and really put our efforts where it matters and not redo the same thing every time again and again.
No, that's a great point of view. Very precise, very concise, and straight to the to solve the main issue. And do you have any success stories or positive outcomes of your involvement with Smart Freight Center?
2 years ago, we were very few people speaking about assurance, and we were lucky to be part of those discussions, and we became the first approved verifiers by Smart Freight Center, initially on ISO 14083, so calculation of emission for logistics, and now also on market-based measures. And it has created a world of opportunities for us. Before 2-3 years ago, we were focusing on individual actors of the transport value chain, so the aircraft operator or the shipping company. And with the exposure and the knowledge we gain from Smart Freight Center, we have been able to expand our services and provide audits not only for one specific leg or one actor of the transport value chain, but to all of the chain. So for freight forwarders or for logistics service providers, which we were not doing before. So it has been really beneficial for us, and with our colleagues and Patricia, our director for Sustainability Initiative Business Unit, is very busy now thanks to our involvement with the Smart Freight Center.
So we can say that collaboration is a key in this process of driving sustainability.
Yeah, indeed, collaboration is key, and we have had also the opportunity to work with big actors like Procter and Gamble, which aim at gathering the various players on their value chain, which are huge, in a harmonized way. And we have had the opportunity to accompany them on their initiatives and provide anticipated validation to avoid identifying issues at the last minute. So we have been involved in the start, and it has been very beneficial experience, and it's one of the things we are very proud of, because without our involvement in the Smart Freight Center and without coming to Smart Freight Week to discuss with the various people, it would not have been possible.
It's great. It's great to hear this, and how we look forward to keep this collaboration growing farther and farther to get to our targets together. Thank you very much for participating, for your time of being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I think there is very promising future for Smart Freight Center and Smart Freight Weeks.
Thanks.